With the LG Phoenix 2, you can always be your selfie. Its Gesture Shot feature makes it simple to snap candid selfies on its 5-megapixel front-facing camera.
Fun day, selfie.
Get it with AT&T GoPhone with unlimited talk, text, and data usage with the first 3 gigabytes at high speed for just $45 a month. All with no annual contract. AT&T, mobilizing your world. Phone restricted to GoPhone service for 6 months after activation. After first 3 gigabytes, data speeds are slowed to up to 128 kilobits per second for rest of term. See store for details.
Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to the Aha Moments Radio Show for the inspiration, education, and celebration of enlightened living worldwide with your host, Mariana Cooper, founder of Aha Moments International and AhaMomentsWorld.com. Tune in for the next hour and learn to trust your Aha Moments to lead the way to live a passionate and purposeful life. And now here's your host, Mari.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Aha Moments Radio Show for the inspiration, education, and celebration of enlightened living worldwide. I'm Mari, and happy Tuesday. We are off and running into the spring. Yay, yay, yay. Even here in San Diego, you can feel the shift of energy, even though we don't really have that big of a demarcation of the seasons, but my body is still on East Coast time because I definitely feel a difference. It definitely feels different. And on Friday of last week, we had 3 things happen all at the same time. We had a solar eclipse, we had a new moon, and we had the spring equinox. So that's exciting because now there's no excuse. We had all kinds of things going on that lead to forward momentum. However, if you felt like you just wanted to face plant in your bed late last week and didn't want to get anything done and felt kind of guilty about that, I can raise the guilt off of you because everybody felt that way. The energy was just beyond loopy, and I felt the same way. So now it feels so much better several days out of that. And now you really have to, buckle up and ride the wave of these next couple of months before we get into the dog days of summer where things slow down again. This is your time, so definitely, whatever you're trying to get done, do it. Go for it. I think we'll have another Mercury in retrograde at sometime in June, so you want to definitely do everything you can right now for all of your manifesting projects, anything that has to do with acquisitions, whether that's relationships or money or career or any of those things. You want to make sure that you're in the saddle and riding hard, off into the sunset with that kind of stuff. So today's show, we are going to be talking about the 3 things that you should clear on a daily basis and how to do it. Because we've talked about energetic hygiene on the show before. For those of you who are new to our community, welcome. I always like to bring this up. It's, of course, right, this time of year is the right time for it because most people are coming out of a very tough winter, and, it's very easy to get cabin fever. In fact, I was saying to somebody the other day, we were analyzing the differences between living on the West Coast and the East Coast, and what I had never really thought of before, but I realized, in my reflection, was that by being here, I had to get like 180 more days of light because from, October to April, it's on the East Coast, you're dealing with winter or winter-like symptoms, post-winter, pre-winter, but certainly, things are shutting down. It's dark, it's cold, it's hard to keep your outdoor activities going. You pretty much have to arrest your development for 6 months, and then you can, pick it back up again in the spring. And then, at least in New Jersey, we would have about a week of spring at best, and then it would hit that hot, humid summer weather. So it would go from 32 to 80 within a, 7-day period. And then it would be 80 and, 70, 90% humidity. And then you want to go back inside again for the dog days of summer. So, I realized that being here on the East Coast, none of that's happening. And so you pretty much that 180 extra days of light, you have a few days of rain, but it doesn't rain all day, and if it does, it's very quick and, just inconsequential. And then the summer gets a little hot, but, certainly it's still very much activity-driven. So the entire society here is moving all the time. And that really does help with the stuck feeling. Because I know that I had plenty of excuses, whether it was summer cabin fever or winter cabin fever, to be stuck. I had plenty of environmental excuses to stay inside, to not get out to the gym or whatever, to sort of nest, whether it was the summer nesting or the winter nesting, it was still like kind of a nesting kind of a culture. And here, there's kind of like one of the reasons why people have been here, I've noticed that they're always climbing up things. I mean, it's really kind of crazy. Everybody's always exercising. You see somebody climbing up a telephone pole to do his pull-ups. In California, they use anything as a piece of exercise equipment. On the East Coast, we don't even, no way. I've seen more people hanging off the street signs and legs up over their head, leaning up against the side of the cafe, whatever. And, you just, as an East Coaster, you just look and say, is this for real? And these people, they're nuts about the fitness. But you can see why, because now being here 9 months, there's really kind of on any given day, there's really no excuse not to be active in some way, shape, or form. So, but if you are not in that kind of an environment, which most people aren't, it is really important for you to manage your energy. And it's important even if you're in this environment, for sure. But it's even more important when you're in an environment where you do have to have, a lot of inside time several months out of the year, because it is very easy to find all sorts of excuses for, putting things off. And then as you put things off, then it starts, kind of a downward spiral for momentum. Also, remember that when you have to put things off due to weather, whether it's your mood or your literal activity, being able to go outside and all that kind of stuff, you also emotionally and energetically stop the energy. You stop the consistency and the flow, the forward flow, forward momentum. And then you start to, wonder, why are my relationships, why are all the symptomatic things of how I'm managing my energy not doing well? What do I mean by that? What's a symptom? A symptom, you have your energy, okay, your mental, emotional, physical, and energetic well-being, okay? You have those buckets, let's say. And each of those buckets together, combined together, influence what I call the symptoms of your life. So the symptoms of your life, or the influential aspects of your life, energetically influenced aspects of your life would include your money, your relationships, your accomplishments, your forward momentum in anything that's kind of requires the purchasing of something, your friendships, the way your world reads back to you. Okay, all of those are reflective of your abilities to manage your mental, emotional, physical, and energetic senses. Okay? So, if you are stuck in any of those four categories, what will show up in your world? A back off of money, or surge of money. Debts and bills come in there too. Back off of relationships, or relationships that are harder to deal with, or you're not attracting the right kind of person. Back off, or difficulties with friendship, any kind of interpersonal relationship. You'll even see things like your technical things going kind of awry if you're stuck. You'll see computer issues. You'll see car issues. You'll see mechanical issues and things in your house. You'll see things with your job. You'll see being more picked on or overlooked for promotions, these types of things. All of these are reflective of your ability, of your high energetic hygiene. They're reflective of you taking care of those 4 buckets: emotional, mental, physical, and energetic. So if you, once a year listen to Mari's show, and you happen to catch the show on clearing, and you go on this all-out crusade to clear everything all at one time, and then you forget about it for the rest of the year, it's like not taking a shower for the rest of the year. It's like taking 1 shower a year. Remember that if you didn't physically take care of yourself, didn't brush your teeth on a regular daily basis, even several times a day, didn't take showers, didn't use deodorant, didn't do anything on a hygienic level, what would you look and smell like in a year? The energy is exactly the same thing. The energy overlays over the physical body, and quite frankly, the energy is part of the physical body, and the physical body is part of your energy. Hygiene is these daily things need to be added to your physical hygienic practices. So you brush your teeth and you wash your hair or you whatever, take your showers. So we're going to talk about these 3 clearing things, and I'll throw in a few others that you should do on a daily basis right along with those things, okay? And when you do, you will see it's just like, paying your bills in an orderly fashion and, keeping up with your physical world as far as like, making, like I said, like opening your mail, making sure you pay your bills and, washing the car on a regular basis and getting your oil changed and all that kind of stuff. You will see that if you take care of these energy things on a daily basis, on a regular basis, you're going, those symptomatic things like money and relationships and all that kind of stuff, and your ability to attract what you want, your manifesting abilities will all go, and you'll create much better flow in your life. And this is super, super, super important. So today I wanted to address this because it's, of course, the changing of the guard with the season. And I really would like to impress upon all of you to start to think of your life as these 4 categories instead of black and white. Nothing is happening to you, okay? Everything is being managed within you. So nothing is happening to you. And I have people call me all the time, my boss did this, the boyfriend won't do that, and then they want to play games. They want to say, well, if I don't call him, now when will he start thinking of me? And if he does, and if he starts thinking of me, what week will that be? And then, is he seeing someone else? And well, if I don't call, well, I said this and he said that, and you know what? That's just mechanics. That is really not what's influencing that. What that reads on the energy, first of all, that focus on every little step he's taking reads as an energetic block. It literally is such a block that it shoves him away or her away, okay? And it's also a lock on energy, too. It stops flow. So if it's not completely blocked, it can be blocking it. You can lock up the energy. I've seen this happen time after time after time after time, and I do a whole lot of readings every week. So, very, very important that you stay focused on clearing first, and that you're always scanning yourself. You're scanning yourself on your mental clarity, your physical clarity, your emotional clarity, your energetic clarity. Always scanning. And then you're doing maintenance on those 4 categories as well. Those 4 categories pretty much affect every major category of your life, every major part of your life. Okay, so you can look at, when you're thinking about work, how am I handling this mentally? Mentally meaning, are you organized? Because the mental bucket includes your to-do list. What are you procrastinating on? How much are you allowing to pile up? And then how are you reacting to that? Okay? Your emotions are your feelings. The emotional bucket is about how you're feeling about things. Are you feeling sad, depressed, grieving? Are you spinning out? I say this spinning out? Meaning, are you kind of gripping onto a situation and feeling like things are happening to you and you can't get it right, and the person isn't behaving the way, and then you're and because of their behavior, you're allowing yourself to feel, the harsher emotion. You can also go for the happy stuff too. Your physical world, your physical organization. Do you have stacks of stuff everywhere? Is your car a mess, and your house is a mess, and you can't see across the floor, and the dog needs to be groomed, and there's tumbleweeds of, cat hair going across the floor. All of these things, looking in each corner of your house and seeing each corner of the room holds energy. Okay? Each corner of the room holds energy. And if that energy isn't moving on a regular basis, you can get stagnant. And that creates physical clutter. And it creates energetic clutter, rather. Okay? So your physical clutter is they're all linked to each other. So if you think of a four link chain that creates a bracelet around your wrist, okay? And you want to if you had 4 links on a gold chain and you put them on as a bracelet, one said emotional, physical, mental, and energetic. You want to envision that on your wrist at all times, and you want to see, okay, if you slide that bracelet each day, say, okay, where am I at energetic? Where am I at emotionally? Where am I at mentally? Where am I at physically? You will then be able to, on a day-by-day basis, sort of analyze what's going on. What happens is when you don't know this, is you lump it all together. You just say, I feel like crap. I don't know why. It's because of him, because he hasn't texted me. I feel like crap. Oh, okay. Well, Mari, when is he going to text me so I don't feel like crap anymore? I don't know. Because you're so gumped up mentally, emotionally, physically, and energetically that I probably wouldn't text you either if I was him. Because when you do that, here's what happens. When we don't know those 4 categories, and they're all gumped up in various levels, but they're all gumped up, we have a tendency to look outside of ourselves for some sort of, relief. And if it's not a man or a woman, it's food. And if it's not food, then maybe it's shopping, gambling, internet surfing, drugs, alcohol, recreational drugs, all these things, okay? And when we do that, when we step out in that direction, that's when things get really confusing. I hear people, I've been at several parties lately, in California, marijuana is medical marijuana is legal here. And it seems that there's 2 things that happen in California way more than I think is real, and that is there's a tremendous amount of people who need medical marijuana and have prescriptions that look perfectly fine to me. And there's a tremendous amount of people who have therapy dogs here that those dogs, they're causing so much havoc in the stores that they're in. I can't imagine that they're doing therapy for anybody. But California, everybody's like, they register those dogs because it's a dog state. Everybody wants to bring their dogs into the Target, into the bank, into the into the restaurant, and so everybody registers their dogs, as a emotional support dog or a therapy dog, whatever. And the medical marijuana thing is just all over the place. So you go to a party and it's like, oh, very interesting. Okay. However, here's what happens. When you are in a constant altered state, and it is very hard to make an assessment. And what happens is if you don't know about these 4 buckets and you're not managing these on a regular basis, and then you manage it you get upset and you want to numb out. So you go run off and you're constantly being social, or you're dealing with your medical marijuana or your alcohol, or you're dealing with any of the various and sundry other things that are out there to be a distraction. Start to throw yourself into parenting to the point where the parenting is overbearing for the kids because you're looking for your gratification to come from their accomplishments. You're looking for little mini-me's as opposed to allowing them to develop as individuals. You're not giving them space to make mistakes because you're taking their mistakes personally as a bad parent. So all those types of things are deflections because you're not aware of how to manage the clutter in these 4 buckets. Okay, so of course, I have whole courses on this topic, my energetic hygiene courses and things. But for today, what I want to give you are 3 basic things to do on a daily basis so that you can keep yourself, in a decent place and connected to these buckets so that all those symptomatic things that are really unnecessary to be, going in the wrong direction can be cleared. So meaning that if you do these 3 things, on a regular basis, you're going to have a little bit easier time with money, with relationships, with parenting, with career, and with most importantly, more than that, with clarity, with getting clarity. Because the biggest thing, probably the most important thing of all of this, is that when you do regular clearings, your intuition can come through much more clearly and louder. So you'll get information on when to text the guy or not to. You'll get the information on how to make more money or how to save it better or, whatever. You'll get information on, how to take care of your sore back or, what food is better for you to eat to lose weight. You'll get that information. It's all available to you. That's the most important thing of all of this. And that's actually the most symptomatic, which I should have probably brought up before, the guys are telling me, is you want your energetic communication system to be free of any obstacles. You want your ability to receive and send intuitive information, to receive and send telepathic information, and to read channeled information. You want that to be clean. You want the pathway for that to be as clear as possible, because that's your survival skills. And that's also beyond your survival skills. Those are your skills to thrive. When you're fluent in those 3 energetic languages, you can thrive. And you can get yourself out of any jam, and I mean any jam you get yourself into, you can get out of if you're fluent in those 3 energetic languages. Okay? So here's the first thing that you want to make sure that you do on a daily basis, and that is cutting your energetic cord. So each person that we encounter, especially those that we love or think we love, we have an energetic cord with them. We have actually 2 cords. One is a cord of energy that goes between us for love, and that's a very positive kind of lifeline kind of cord. And the other is one where we attach because we're trying to get energy from them because we don't know how to get energy from our true source, which is our own higher self. So a lot of times we see this in relationships. We get very attached, or somebody's attached to us, and you can always, because even when they're not in your presence, you can still kind of feel the heaviness around them. You can still, you can't get your mind off a person, or you think of a person and you just sort of, you kind of just shiver a little bit, like in, like a feeling. That's because somebody has you corded, okay? This can happen with, relationships and husband, wives, and, all that kind of stuff, and bosses and coworkers, and, people at the, your hobbies, your golf partners, your bridge partners, your dance partner, whatever. But they can also happen with people that you see in passing. So somebody gets mad at you for road rage, okay? They're not only yelling at you in person, they're also yelling at you energetically and courting you energetically. That can really weigh things down. When somebody has negative thoughts about you, or you go to like happy hour and everybody's talking bad about, one person. Everybody, when they invest talking about that person, they literally cord to that person because they're reading the energy and they're analyzing it and whatever. They don't even realize. So you get corded quite a bit on a daily basis. When this happens, you can get very, very gunked up, and especially as light workers, and advanced light workers in particular, a lot of people, especially if you're doing any kind of healing arts, psychic arts, and whatnot, you can get gunked up pretty good and feel very, very heavy and exhausted. I always ask myself, because I do, like so many readings, and every time I do a reading, people cord me. They want me to answer their questions. They want me to solve their problems. They come to me for a fixed session. Everybody who asks me a question on the radio show, they're cording to me, okay? So what I have to do at the end of every day, the beginning of the day, even in the middle of the day sometimes, if I'm feeling particularly exhausted or pulled on, is I have to cut my cord. And one of the things I always say when I'm doing a formal reading is I never remember a reading after it's over because I cut it off. I cut the energetic cord to that. And what that does is it clears my energy, so I'm very much in my own pure energy and connected to my higher self, which is where my energetic engine should come from, as should yours, okay? And then once, then that happens, then I can, manage all my different relationships and, work relationships and those types of things. So there's many ways you can cut cords, but one of the simplest ways is before you go to sleep, or, when you think of it, or, in the morning when you wake up, what you want to do is just say you want to invoke the energy of Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael is the one who governs over this type of thing, and he represents as an angel with a big sword, and I'm sure you're familiar with him. But you just ask for those cords to be cut, and you see him cutting those with a sword. That's the angelic way to do it. You can also just literally ask for your guides, please cut all of the negative cords to me at this time and restore my energy. Bring all of the energy, bring all of, make me whole, okay? So that's number one, is cutting cords, asking for the cords to be cut. And you can also then, step two is, or thing number two that you should do, is you should ask at the end of each day for all of the energy that you put out into the world to come back to you through filter, so that you're filtering out anything negative, any negative attachments that people have or, situations have on you, and you're pulling all of your energy back to you at the end of the day. We have a tendency to put a tremendous amount of our energy out. And when you feel really depleted, it's because you're scattered all over the galaxy. Okay, you can be, especially if you're trying to deal with a problem and you're leaving energy on the table. Okay, you got to ask that: am I leaving energy on the table? I need to collect that back and bring it back to myself. Okay, so if you're at work and you're going through a hard time, or if you're in your business and you're dealing with a lot of hard clients, or whatever it is, your family, your parents, whatever it is, you go to a family reunion or a family dinner or some, the holidays. Oof, talk about needing to pull your energy back. So, and quite frankly, this isn't always a negative thing. It isn't always like, okay, I've got to pull back because people are doing negative things to me. You can go and have a wonderful time. Okay, I've been to many gatherings and things, and I have a wonderful time. And then there was no, ill will. There was no, ill effect. But I'm exhausted. And that's because you've expanded your auric field, you've shared energy with others, and now it's time to pull it back in, to complete yourself, to pull yourself whole again, make yourself whole again. So thing number one is to ask to cut the cords on a daily basis. Thing number two is on your way to go to sleep, ask for all of your energy to come back. Now, you want to make sure you ask for it to come through a filter. So you can envision it coming through like a cheesecloth. And that cheesecloth, or, a screen, like a screen on your screen door, your patio door, your window, envision it coming through a filter. Okay, so it's like a strainer. So you're only getting the pure energy that's truly you. No opinions, no heavy emotions, no, holding, gripping, possessiveness, all that stays on the other side of the filter. And you're getting back any wisdom, love, anything that you gathered for the day that was, good for you. You want to pull it back into you. Okay? All right. So those are the first two things. And then the third thing, and I have 60 things you could do, but the third thing that I think is super important is to clear the auric field of your body. And the way that you can do that is with sea salt. Now, if you have a chance to take a hot salt bath, then certainly that's the optimal way. But I would keep a jar, not a carton, because the cartons kind of get yucky in the shower. But I would keep a jar in your bathroom, in your shower, and after you finish, washing with your soap and water and all that, you want to just take your salt and do a little quick scrub, just rub it on yourself and rinse it off. And you can even do that, even if you wear a shower cap or something, you can even do that on the top of your head. That clears the crown chakra. And just washing yourself over with a rinse of salt will clear your auric field. Okay, if you take a shower at night, you can do that. If you happen to come home, you feel really heavy after a long, hard day, my favorite bath to do, in fact, I just did one yesterday, and oh my gosh, it felt like so much better this morning. because I've been processing a lot, is a cup of Epsom salt, a cup of sea salt, and a box of, a small box of fresh baking soda. You want to buy a special box just for the bath. You don't want to use what's been in the refrigerator. You want a nice fresh box. And that Epsom salt, sea salt, and baking soda is a wonderful aura cleanser. And it's also great for any kind of soreness in your body and all that kind of stuff. Whole Foods actually has a wonderful eucalyptus bath salt that has Epsom salt, sea salt, and baking soda in it with eucalyptus. And I found that the other day, a couple of weeks, actually last week or 2 weeks ago, and it's wonderful. Oh, my gosh, that's what I used yesterday. And then I added in extra Epsom salt, sea salt. But in any event, you just wake up and you feel so much better in your muscles and everything, but you feel really so much better in your energy. And that's what's really important to me to let you know about today. So those three basic things, certainly drinking, lots of water, and there's all kinds of things. Yes, you can go for nature walks. Yes, you can go, I go to the ocean every day, but not everybody has an ocean, When I was in New Jersey, I couldn't go to the ocean every day, but I did do these three things on a fairly regular basis. And I found that when I would forget, things would get really, really, really gunked up, and I'd start to feel needy, and I'd start to feel whiny, and start to feel kind of victimized, what's happening to me, and what's going to happen to me next, and all that kind of stuff. And when I got back on my clearing, my regular clearing, hygienic practices on a daily basis, all that went away. And that especially that calling your energy back to yourself and cutting the cords, I can't tell you what a difference that makes. Okay, so we are going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to start with a few readings. So the number to call in if you'd like to ask a question is 347-215-9485. That's 347-215-9485. I'm Mari. You're listening to the Aha Moments radio show, and we'll be right back.
Do you ever get a hunch about something and ignore it, only to find out later you were right after all? Do you know that you're intuitive but need help interpreting what you get? Need quick answers to burning questions but don't have the time to wait for a private reading? Then Mari's Intuitive Living Oracle cards are the tool for you. 45 gorgeous laminated cards and a full book of interpretations come together in a beautiful velvet bag. The cards have been designed and energized to give you the answers right now. No more sleepless nights weighing pros and cons. Ask the cards your questions and see what message your intuition has for you. To learn more and get your deck now, go to the store at www.ahamomentsinc.com and click on the Intuitive Living cards now. That's the store at ahamomentsinc.com. The answers are truly within your reach.
Are you living the life you are really meant to live? Soul Lifetimes Magazine is your online source for creating the life you truly desire. When you register for your free subscription at www.soullifetimes.com, you get access to a world of resources that will help you to get the answers you seek and inspire you to take charge of your world. Tap into your body, mind, and spirit with articles from some of the most well-known conscious thought leaders and teachers on metaphysics, soul talk, soulmate relationships, quantum healing, astrology, food for the soul, style, and more. When you join us to create a joyful lifestyle for a new way of being, you truly contribute to raising the consciousness of the world. Subscribe for free at www.soullifetimes.com and never miss an issue of this innovative and insightful digital magazine. Soul Lifetimes Magazine is about living happier, healthier lives full of purpose, joy, and abundance. Subscribe now for free at www.soullifetimes.com. We look forward to seeing you there.
Are you at a crossroads in your life, facing big decisions about your life purpose, business, relationships, or other major issues? Are you wondering why you may be delayed in getting what you want? Or if you have special guides who are helping you? Then investing in a private intuitive reading with Mari is just what you need. As a third-generation spiritual intuitive, Mari has worked with thousands of clients over the past 18 years. During your private session, you will learn who your guides are, receive insight on the core issues that need attention, and get new perspective, clarity, and inspiration on what to do next. To register, go to www.ahamomentsinc.com and click on the Work with Mari tab to get all of the details. There are a limited number of spots each month, so go to www.ahamomentsinc.com for yours now.
Step back in time to the very beginning, before life as we know it existed. Stones have been on this earth since before the inception of man. They are keepers of ancient wisdom and messages. Tap into the profound wisdom of stones and let your journey begin at the Rock Girl Sacred Stone School. Let the Rock Girl take you back to those ancient days to learn firsthand the language and the secrets of stones. The Rock Girl will teach you how to develop your very own technique of communicating with them, allowing you to embark on your own path of self-discovery. Courses include Reiki, psychic development, chakra balancing and auric cleansing, hands-on healing, and more. Visit sacredstoneschool.com for classes and workshops taught exclusively by the Rock Girl of therockgirl.com.
Hello, we are back. I'm Mari. You're listening to the Aha Moments radio show, and today we're talking about, what are we talking about? The 3 things you should clear every day. It's right as day in front of me right here and on the studio board here, because it always gives me the description of the show, so I remember what I'm supposed to talk about. But I guess I was not focused. So here I am, and here you are, and we are ready to start some calls. So the number to call in is 347-215-9485. And what I would ask is if you ask one question and you're focused and specific on the question that you're asking, just for the sake of time so we can get to as many of you as possible. So we are going to start with Serena in Canada. Hi, Serena.
Hi, Mari. Hello, Mari. It's so nice to talk
Hello.
to you.
You too.
Hi.
What's your question?
My question is, how long more do I have to wait to get a full-time position job offer? I've been waiting a long time. I've been doing the work, and I'm just waiting. Everything is in limbo. I feel stuck.
Okay, so the first thing that came through is, what are you waiting for? And the reason why I say that is, what you're doing is assuming that there's something outside of you that has to come to you through some, drop out of the sky kind of thing. And I know when you say you're doing the work, you're putting out the resumes, you're going on the interviews and that type of thing. What you're doing, though, is, and this is where it's important to recognize, you're breaking the 4 categories: emotional, mental, physical, energetic. On a physical scale, you're not particularly waiting, but on an energetic scale, you are. Because in your head, you're saying, and in your energy, you're saying, I'm waiting, I'm on hold, I'm stuck. So you're commanding the energy to be on hold, waiting, and stuck. The way that you shift that is to start to do visioning for yourself where you're already in the job. And whatever that job is, what I would do if I was you is I'd write down on a piece of paper exactly what you would like that job to be, and ideally, if there was no limitation whatsoever, what would you like this job to be? And then when you vision yourself in that job, I don't want you to look at it as if it's a movie from a distance. I want you to literally feel yourself having some kind of conversation with a new coworker or with someone that is on your team, or with somebody or a client or whatever it is that you're looking to do. And I want you to proceed to literally feel yourself having a conversation with that person about one particular topic. I don't want you to think, oh, I'm in this job and I'm wearing these clothes and I have this kind of office and I'm working with these kinds of people, and I don't want, that's too far and too broad. You literally want to see yourself perhaps coming in, on a Monday morning and saying, oh my gosh, Mondays used to feel so awful in my old job, but now here I love coming in on Mondays. There's so many awesome things to do. And your coworker who you adore and who adores you says, yeah, I agree with you. Isn't this a great and awesome place to work? Best job I've ever had. End of scene. That's it. End of scene. When you do that, what that does is it literally puts you in the job. You're not on hold anymore. You're not waiting. You're in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that will shift
I didn't
the
have that
energy.
mentality for a long time. I actually had all of these things you're talking about in my head, and then a few instances
having it in your head is down. Yeah, having it in your head and being it are two totally different things. Having it in your head and being it are two totally different things. And I think that it's very comfortable to keep saying you're stuck. It's very comfortable. Now, one of the other things, I'm going to have to jump to the next person. One of the other things that you want to consider is what kind of job is it that you're really looking for, and is it really something that you genuinely want? That's another big question to ask for yourself. Because if it's something that you're kind of thinking, I need this to pay the bills, but you don't really want to do it, that will block in the energy as well. So I'm going to have to jump to the next person, but I hope that's helped a bit. And I would definitely say stop telling the story of I'm stuck and allow yourself, things have to configure. Sometimes it's going to take 5 or 6 different things before that real thing shows up. And each time that something shows up that isn't necessarily the right fit, you want to ask the energy, what is it I'm supposed to learn from this particular thing? How am I supposed to refine my search, seeing that this particular thing didn't work out or it wasn't the right fit? So I hope that's helped, and I'm going to have to move on to the next person. But have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Okay. Next question is Brenda in Colorado. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, Mari. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, good. Thank you. So my question is, I just don't know how to handle just acute loneliness as I've been shifting and friends have been shifting away, and then I think it's affecting those 4 things we talked about. So I'm trying to do this in the correct and most energetic way possible, but it's not fun. So I'm wondering, besides all the normal things, it just really feels acute.
The loneliness feels acute?
Yes.
What is when you say loneliness? What are you What are you referring to?
Well, since I really started shifting and awakening the last 2 years, just by nature, I'm middle aged, so people moving, retiring, whatever, and I've been single for 15 years too. So I just feel like I'm 90 years old and all my friends have passed already. And do I do the normal things? Yes, go out in nature, walk, I'm trying to do all the things that I naturally would know, but I'm wondering, is there a reason for this?
Well, there's two things I think distinctions that you need to make. And the first is, I think that you're misidentifying loneliness with spaciousness. They're two totally different things.
Okay.
So when you do the kind of work you've done, or you say that you've done, what that does is it eliminates everything that is either unlike love or that no longer serves, or every relationship where the season is complete. So it empties out your world. Then if you misidentify it as loneliness, you start to conjure up more loneliness because you're misidentifying that space that you created as lonely, as being alone. Now, when you misidentify that space and you say, I'm lonely, you start creating more lonely, and you're putting that negative attachment onto it. But what if you took that for the next 30 days, what I'd like you to do is look at that loneliness that you're feeling and re-identify it as spaciousness. That you literally moved yourself into a new house that's empty. And now you get to decorate each room.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that.
now, and this is something that, many people get stuck in, because you start to get worried, and then you start to affirm it, then you start to create the self-fulfilling prophecy of loneliness. When you look at it as spaciousness, and understand, as advanced light workers, and all of you guys listening on the call, when you guys start saying, I want to eliminate this and get rid of that and clear this out and clear that out, hello, when you clean out a room, you clean out a closet, it starts off as empty, but you've created space. Okay? When you move into a new house, you usually want to have, I know when I moved into this house, which is 4 times bigger than the house I left, I want to have empty cabinets. It's really comforting to know that there's a place for everything, and there's still more space for accumulating things that I want to accumulate, right? So, or collect. You go traveling, you want to bring something back. You don't want it to be falling on top of yourself or the cats and your boyfriend or whatever. You want to play for it, right? So It's okay to have space. You have a tendency to want to fill everything up. And if it's not filled up to the gills, we feel empty. It's not emptiness. What you've created, my dear, is space. But you've been misidentifying it. And then you start to kick in all of the physical markers of loneliness. You start to kick in the cortisol, the adrenal glands, everything, that anxiety around it, and I'm not going to be lonely forever, and then the sadness, and then the sad hormones start pumping, and you create this whole negative wheel. So the antidote to that is to literally, you can even cut the cords from the loneliness if you, so choose. You can do, what you say is your normal stuff, and do that again. But now say I'm asking to fill up my world, the spaciousness, to start to collect treasures in the space that I've created. I'd like to collect treasures in the space that I created. That means treasures in relationships, treasures in, pastime, treasures in, whatever material things you want. But start to see each thing that you allow to come into your new space as a treasure, and invite the treasures to come forward. When you do that, everything will change. So I think that should, I have to jump on to the next person, but I hope that helps.
That's beautiful. Really, thank you. That's
a point of view. Okay? Okay. Thanks for calling in, Miss Brenda. Okay, next we have, where am I? Melissa in New York. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. My daughter had passed away last month, and so I'm dealing with grief.
Yeah.
She was 1 year old, and I want to try find work, but I don't know how to pull myself to, do it, because I have, a little anxiety every time I go outside now, which I didn't have that before.
She was
so it's anxiety, I want to cry and everything. 1 year old.
She was 1 year old. Oof. Wow, I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay, so what you're dealing with now is a very natural process of grieving, and quite frankly, it's not really realistic 4 weeks ago, if you lost your 1 year old child 4 weeks ago, to feel, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and ready to take on the world. So what you want to do is to allow, and this is where your prayers are a little different. It's kind of finding the quiet within the hurricane, of the grief. Because grief is a very interesting healing process. It's almost the same as labor. There's the contractions and then the release. And then the contractions and then the release. Right now, I always find that my clients who've lost someone, I know my fiance died and stuff, when you have someone that close to you, especially a child, that first year, it's going to be hard to, just feel like business is normal, business as usual. The way that you can deal with, and also going outside the anxiety when you have something that feels so beyond your control, to lose your 1 year old child, that's just not supposed to happen. When you have something that feels so beyond your control, when you leave the house feeling anxious about it, is really more like post-traumatic stress of not having control over other things. Okay? So in this case, what I would do is I would look at each category, mental, emotional, physical, and energetic, and I really think that the mental, emotional, and physical pieces of it are important for you to make sure you have a good grief counseling, scenario where you're dealing with other people who are kind of going through similar things, because it's hard to find camaraderie amongst the average folks of people who've lost a 1-year-old child. It's an unusual thing to happen. So you need to be in a group where you can. So it's hard for people to relate, and then they get terrified about what could happen to their kids listening to your story, and then you start to, after the initial funerals and things like that, people kind of pull away, right? So it does start to feel kind of lonely. Then you don't want to go out and you start to isolate, and then it creates this spin. So what I would highly suggest is on a mental perspective, you get support. That's absolutely mandatory, that you get support, any kind of, objective support, like a counselor or, some sort of mental health support. Those are two things really, really super important. The third thing is, in your physical world, gentle exercise will help to metabolize the feelings. What's important, especially when someone's grieving at that level, is not to try to eliminate the feelings. Those feelings that you're having are just like when you're teaching a child to walk and they stand up and then they fall down, they stand up and they fall down. That's the way grieving is. It comes hard because you're pushing out healing. That healing happens and it hurts. And then it subsides and you get a little peace. And then it's boom, 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 and then it's peace. That's actually the healing happening. So to try to block it off or sabotage, squelch it, is actually going to arrest it, and that's where you see people who never get over that loss, So I would like to say, here's the magic wand to eliminate all of this and to make you feel confident in going outside again. But I think that some of this is post-traumatic stress of what you've been through. And I think in this case, you're looking at more of a mental health support, and then you can add in the energy. Here's what happens, and this is the last thing I'll say, and I have to move on to the next person. Here's what happens to your intuition when you're going through a shock and a grief like that. Because your energy creates a high level of sensitivity, when the only time that your intuition is actually turned down a bit is when you're going through a major loss and grieving. Because it's kind of like when somebody goes let's say they go through a trauma and the body shuts down and goes unconscious while it sends all the blood to the most vital organs, right? So you'll feel a little bit disconnected intuitively for a little while. You're not disconnected. They don't unplug you, but they just turn it down because they're dulling your senses a little bit so that you're not overwhelmed by the emotional aspect of all of this, okay? So that's one of the reasons why you're feeling a little anxious, too, is because the guidance that you would have normally felt, even if you didn't know it was there, you may not be feeling as much as it now, so you're not feeling as protected as you might have normally felt, and then, of course, you had a tragic thing happen. So that's perfectly normal. I would really, for the next 6 months, stay very focused in the mental health aspect of this, because it's not really fair to yourself to expect all kinds of, huge hoop jumping at this time. Now, that being said, Archangel Ariel is an Archangel Azrael, Azrael, help with the grieving process. So you are definitely surrounded by angels, and your daughter is a little heavenly helper for you. She will be a spirit guide for you as well. And 6 months to a year from now, you're going to see all sorts of lessons that have popped up because of this, and you'll probably be helping other people who are going through it. No, it's okay. It's okay. You can listen to the podcast. So we're going to jump off to the next caller, but I hope that's helped a little bit. Okay. So, all right. Next we have, let me see her. We have Cheryl in California. Hi, Cheryl.
Hello, Mariana.
Hello.
I'm a first-time caller.
Okay.
Perusing the internet and found you.
Excellent. What's your question?
My question is I got my husband after a year of talking and bringing it up to go to a couples camp in June.
Yeah.
And because he was very reluctant to go, so he finally said yes, he would go. It's 4 days, but he has to call in sick for 3 days. Now, that all sounds very nice on the surface, and I'm all happy that he has finally said yes compared to what the responses I was getting before. So that is that's progress. Now, he's going to take 3 days off from work just before he takes 3 months off with his mother to go to France, which has been cleared with his work.
I'm going to have to stop you. I'm going to have to stop you because we literally have a minute. So what, can you get to the question?
Is he going to stay the 4 days with me?
Okay. It feels to me like he will probably postpone this trip with you to focus on the other stuff. It does not feel like you're going to make it through this time. However, I'm not sure if there's another one of these couple camps in the fall, but it feels like his willingness will still be there, but the logistics will get the best of you this time. But to be really honest, energetically, you'll have a better, for whatever reason, you'll have, what your guides are saying is you'll have a better time of, getting progress in the couples thing at a later date than you would in June. June is Mercury in retrograde, so it might not be a really good time for that kind of work. So it's not a bad thing if this is postponed a bit.
It's like I'm in the back seat and not the front seat. It's like I'm second banana to his mother.
Yeah, I can't. I really, that's too big of a conversation
to attack in 1 minute or less. Yes,
1 minute or less. But what I would suggest is to do some journaling about it, get all the anger out on paper, and then tease it out and figure out what's the most important thing for you to tackle at one time. But as far as the coupling, the couple thing and is a completely different thing. Him going to the couples retreat is a completely different thing than tackling the mother-in-law. Two totally different things. And like I told the last caller, sometimes you need to tackle this on two levels. You need to tackle it on an energetic level, but also getting to an objective person that you can really talk this through and tease out would be a really good idea to do at this time. So I'm going to have to jump off, but I hope that's helped a little bit.
But you see him
Okay. So, okay, that was weird. I do one more, Sam. And who do we have left? I believe is Emma in Texas. Hi, Emma.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? What's your question?
Fine. Question is, energetically, I'm trying to move into by nature, I'm a positive person, but I have been in an environment that is somewhat fear-based and a lot of stagnant energy. And even though I try to do cleansing and try to wipe that off, I'm trying to push myself out of that so I can get back to the person that I used to be. But it's been draining. So
what's the question?
So the question is, do you see me doing this in stages?
Well, the first big red flag for you is to want to go back to where you used to be. Never, ever can you do that because there's a frequency you've evolved from that. So what you want to do is say to your guides, please step me forward. They're never going to take you backwards. Okay? That actually can change a whole lot of things. Very similar to the emptiness and spaciousness conversation I had earlier with someone on the call earlier. Identifying you're about at the tail end of this situation. Is this that you're asking the wrong question? How do I get back? How do I get back to my old self? How do I get back? They'll never take you back. Say, how do I move forward? How do I move forward into that new space? And I think you'll see things actually come together quite magically. I think by April or May, mid-April to mid-May, you're going to be in a much better place. So I hope that's helpful.
Yes, it is.
You're welcome. Have a great night. Thanks, Emma. All right. Well, we have come to the end of yet another Aha Moments radio show. And I highly suggest that you do those daily cleansing practices as a part of your energetic hygiene, if you do nothing else, it will ease things quite a bit. And just ask yourself the question, am I looking at this in the most positive way possible? Am I looking at whatever it is you're trying to face in your world? You know, is there a slight shift that can change everything? And you can even ask your angels, is there a slight shift in my perception that if I shifted my perception that it would change everything? Just like the spaciousness versus the loneliness question that we had earlier in the show. In the meantime, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place, and we'll end with my motto, which is, you truly can have exactly what you want. You absolutely deserve it too. And in this new energy, anything is possible. See you next week, everybody. Take care.
You've been listening to the Aha Moments radio show with your host, Mari. Be sure to visit her blog and website at www.ahamomentsinc.com. That's AHA, moments with an S, inc.com. Also join Mari on Facebook at www.facebook.com/ahamomentsinc and Twitter at twitter.com/ahamoments. We can't wait to see you there.
With the LG Phoenix 2, you can always be your selfie. Its Gesture Shot feature makes it simple to snap candid selfies on its 5-megapixel front-facing camera.
Sunday selfie.
Get it with AT&T Go Phone with unlimited talk, text, and data usage with the first 3 gigabytes at high speed for just $45 a month. All with no annual contract. AT&T, mobilizing your world. Phone restricted to Go Phone service for 6 months after activation. After first 3 gigabytes, data speeds are slowed to up to 128 kilobits per second for rest of term. See store for details. With the LG Phoenix 2, you can always be your selfie. Its Gesture Shot feature makes it simple to snap candid selfies on its 5-megapixel front-facing camera.
Sunday selfie.
Get it with AT&T Go Phone with unlimited talk, text, and data usage with the first 3 gigabytes at high speed for just $45 a month. All with no annual contract. AT&T, mobilizing your world. Phone restricted to Go Phone service for 6 months after activation. After first 3 gigabytes, data speeds are slowed to up to 128 kilobits per second for rest of term. See store for details.